Conservative new media viewers and JLin fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFV, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and we're here to talk about JLin and kind of just give an overall update for him late on Thursday, July 17th, 2013 here in the United States. Now, there's a couple different things going on right now. Certainly want to talk about the mini camp that JLin was just at for Houston and the Rockets down in LA. We want to talk about the signing of Aaron Brooks by the Houston Rockets. So Brooks is coming back to the team. What does that mean for Jeremy? What does it mean for the team? And we want to talk about Jeremy's just his overall approach, or what seems to be his approach to the 2013 summer, which is what we're in right now. Kind of, how is JLin looking at the offseason, and what has he done, and what is his approach to this offseason? So let's just get started. I've been collecting different information on Jeremy the last few days since the last update, and we'll just go through it. The first thing is the play-by-play man, the play-by-play announcer, Bill Worrell. If you watched the Dwight Howard press conference, he was the MC of the press conference. He was the guy that was doing the introductions and kind of running the show from the microphone. So some of you guys know Bill Worrell and some of you don't. Certainly the people in Houston and in Texas know Bill Worrell, but a lot of JLin fans around the world don't know him. Anyway, so he was on Houston radio a few days ago on 1560, I believe, in Houston, and he was asked about Jeremy. One of the hosts asked him, Bill, what do you think? What do you think about Jeremy? Jeremy's taken a lot of abuse from fans and from radio talk show callers. And so they wanted to know what Bill Worrell thought about for Jeremy and what do you think about him for next year? And basically what Bill Worrell said is, look, I know a lot of people doubt JLin, but I'm not one of the people that doubts him. And so what Worrell was saying, Jeremy is used to being doubted. And every time people doubt him, he comes back. And he comes back stronger. And he proves people wrong. And that is a lot of what we talk about here all the time. And what you guys know in terms of what Jeremy's reputation is and just how he's performed in the past. So it's good to hear Bill Worrell say that. To see some people that support Jeremy and then have faith in Jeremy. So I was very happy to hear that. Now, Jason Friedman, who works for Rockets.com, he also was on in Houston radio a day or two ago. And he's been on a couple of shows in the last few days. I don't remember which station this was that I heard him on. But he was basically saying that he believes that Jeremy will be the starter next year. Obviously, that means that he believes Jeremy's going to be around next year, and he believes that Jeremy will be the person who is starting next year. Now, Friedman wrote an article, I believe yesterday, on Rockets.com, and the name of the article was Chemistry Lesson, and we'll include information about that article in the video description below the video player so you can check it out. In that article, Jeremy said he was basically praising Dwight Howard. I think he said that Dwight Howard's like an athletic freak, and Dwight Howard's doing these pick and rolls and just, coming down and pounding the ball through the basket, which we know. If you've watched Dwight Howard, even last year when his back wasn't right, that's what he does. Dwight Howard has something like a 40-inch vertical. If you put a 40-inch vertical on a guy that's about 6'9" and about 270 pounds, you're going to have some pretty spectacular results. And I think Jeremy's starting to see that for himself in terms of what Dwight Howard can do. For old fans of the NBA, Hakeem Olajuwon, the former center for the Rockets that played with them in the 80s and 90s, and of course won the two titles in the mid-90s, Hakeem was about 6'10", maybe 6'10 and a half. His vertical was close to 40 inches. And so it's, Dwight Howard's similar to Hakeem in that respect. Just massive vertical, the tall guy who's athletic in other ways besides jumping. So I wouldn't put Dwight Howard in Hakeem Olajuwon's class because Hakeem was just unbelievably good. But Dwight Howard is a great player. He's big, he's strong, he is athletic. He's excellent on the pick and roll and finishing pick and rolls. And if Jeremy was able to have the success he had offensively with Tyson Chandler, he should be able to have even more success with Dwight Howard, because Dwight Howard's just basically a more athletic version of Tyson Chandler, even though Tyson's a little bit taller than Dwight Howard is. So I also want to say with Jason Friedman, he has a YouTube channel, and he has been doing, I think they're called Rockets Cast, and I believe those originate on Rockets.com, but Jason is also putting them up on YouTube either like after they're done. So I'm going to include information for Jason's YouTube channel in the video description below the video player, so you guys can check it out. I think Jason does a great job from what I know of him. I've seen some of his stuff on Twitter. I've read some of his articles. Again, he's with the team, so he's going to get information, and he gets to talk to the players. He gets to talk to Jeremy. He gets to talk with different guys, so that's really useful. We've told you guys before, we try to point you to information sources that we think are useful. And Jason Friedman is useful and good because he has direct ties with the team. Has access to them. He gets to speak with the players directly. So it's certainly worthwhile, in my opinion, to listen to what he has to say. Now, again, a lot of what Jason's going to do is talk about the entire team. So if you listen to a Rockets Cast broadcast, probably a fair amount of it's not going to be about Jeremy, but it relates to Jeremy because Jeremy's a Rocket. So everything going on with the team is going to affect Jeremy. So I definitely think it's worthwhile to check out what Jason has to say. So that's somebody else you can add into your list of sources, and particularly the YouTube channel, because I'm not sure how long Jason's been doing the YouTube channel. It might be relatively newer. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about Clutch and Clutch fans. I know a lot of you guys don't like Clutch fans, and just in terms of you don't think a lot of the posters there are Lin supporters. And that's true. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, the whole reason why I was on there, and my handle on the site is Phi Slamma, which a lot of you guys already know. The whole reason why I coined the term ABJ, which means anybody but Jeremy, is because there are a lot of people like that. There are a lot of people like that, period. And there's a number of people who are like that on the site. And that's just how it is. That's the way it's going to be for Jeremy, unfortunately. And he's not the only person like that. I've pointed out before, another person who gets a ridiculous amount of hate or doubt or whatever you want to call it is LeBron James. And LeBron James is the best player in the NBA. Clearly the best player. I mean, and he's been the best player for years now. But there's a whole bunch of people that hate on him for whatever reason. And I think a lot of the reasons are pretty stupid. But I get it. And it's real. So don't worry about it. That would be my advice. Don't worry about it. Jeremy's in good company with being, dissed or having his little hater crew. LeBron's the same way, and LeBron's great. So I remember, I want to say it was Barry Bonds, and he took it from somebody else, said one time, they don't boo nobodies, meaning they don't hate you if you're not any good. If you weren't any good, they wouldn't care about you. So for Jeremy to have a whole little packet of people that want to diss him means they're scared about him. They're concerned about him. They're threatened by him, whatever, meaning he's good. They know he has talent, regardless of what they say. And that's fine. That's great. A lot of people in history, great people, have been doubted or disliked. So Jeremy knows that. I'm sure he doesn't. I'm sure he's not thrilled by it, but it doesn't affect him. If anything, it probably motivates him. So that's a good thing. But there's plenty of people on Clutch Fans that like Jeremy. Tons of them. A whole bunch of people. Now, some of them are newer members on the forums, and they're people that joined because Jeremy's with the team now. That's fine. But there's a number of people there that like Jeremy. So I don't want to just totally put down Clutch Fans. Like I said, you guys know how I feel. I like Clutch because I've known Clutch for almost 20 years or 15 years just from the internet. I don't know him. I never met him. He doesn't know me personally, but I know him just from his stuff, and he's done a good job. And the site is a useful site. Just like we talk about, rockets.com and Jason Friedman, YouTube, that's useful. Clutch Fans is a useful site. Even if the entire site aren't Lin fans. So, that's good. I mean, I'm glad the place exists, and it helps. At least it helps in terms of learning more about Jeremy and finding out the latest information. I use it all the time, and I'm glad that it exists because it helps me collect information. And so that's good. Now, Jeremy was not in L.A. today or July on Thursday. And so that spurred a whole discussion. There was a person on Clutch Fans that went and got to see some of the workout today by the Rockets, the little mini camp, so to speak. And he's like, oh, Jeremy wasn't there, and what does it mean? And, all of a sudden there's, that means Jeremy's going to get traded. It means this. It means they told Jeremy that he's going to be demoted and Patrick Beverley's going to start. It's just, I mean, that's here in the United States. I'm not even going to say that, go down to that story. But everybody wants to speculate about what's happening, right? What does everything mean? Well, look, we heard a lot of speculation before. Jeremy's going to get traded, signed and traded to the Lakers for Dwight Howard. Jeremy's going to get traded for Josh Smith. Now there's, rumors out there. LaMarcus Aldridge, he wants to come to Houston, a power forward from Portland. And now Jeremy's going to get traded for that. Now Jeremy's not there for one day in L.A., and that means this, and he's gone. And it's just, look, I get it. Everybody's trying to interpret everything, but let's not read too much into things. Let's not read too much into things. And Jeremy himself put out a tweet Wednesday night, I believe, on the 16th, saying that, this was his last, he said it was his last supper in L.A., meaning that, he was taken off. And it appears as though Lin went back home, went up north in California, back to Palo Alto. And I'll get to that in just a second. But Jeremy put out a tweet today, and I'll include Jeremy's Twitter feed in the in the information in the video description below the video players. You can check out his last couple of tweets from the 17th and the 18th. And he put out a picture from like a tea garden, what looks to be like a Japanese tea garden, very, a nice ordered garden. That's a like a tourist attraction. Somebody said on Clutch Fans that it's the HOU Gardens in Saratoga, California. Saratoga, California is close to Santa Clara, close to San Jose. So if that's where it is, then that just means that Jeremy's at home, in the Bay Area. And again, there was something else, another picture that came out of Jeremy today that makes it seem like, yeah, that is where he is. And that's okay. He spent time with the team in L.A. He's there. He was working along with everybody else. Remember, there was all kinds of speculation that he wasn't even going to go to L.A. Well, that didn't turn out to be true. So this is the summer. I know Omer Ashik wasn't with the team in L.A. Now, there's discussion that Omer's not really happy with what his role might be next year, playing a backup and whatever. But I don't think there's any hidden messages here with Jeremy in terms of his not being in L.A. today. I could be wrong about that, but I'm not feeling that. I don't have that sense. Now, you will also see in the video description below the video player a girl put out an Instagram picture today that included Jeremy. And this girl, from everything I can see on her Instagram, is from Palo Alto. And she mentions that Jeremy is a Pally legend, meaning Palo Alto. That's just kind of a nickname for Palo Alto, Pally. And it appeared to be a gym. And Jeremy's posing with a group of girls that look like, probably on a basketball team, or maybe it's a basketball camp. And so he's posing there with them. So again, he looks to be up in Palo Alto. Now, when Jeremy put out the tweet of the Japanese tea garden, he said he was taking a day off. And so this had people, like one guy wrote a rude tweet like, hey, dude, you should be practicing today or whatever. That, actually not a tweet, it was an Instagram comment. And that brought Jeremy's little brother, or younger brother, Joe, and he kind of defended Jeremy, saying, look, man, you can't train every single day. And that's true, you can't. If you train every single day, day after day, if you're training hard, your body, you're going to get hurt, which is basically what Joe said. And again, Joe, I believe, is a Division III basketball player. So, he knows about training. He knows about what it takes to be a successful basketball player and how you have to train. And there's no question, you can't go every single day. Particularly, it depends on how you work out. If you don't work out hard, you can go every day. But if you're working out hard and really pushing your body and doing some weight training and stuff, you got to take days off. Somebody said on Clutch Fans, I believe, that they think that Jeremy is heading back up north because his high school basketball coach runs a camp up there. And so Jeremy's got a commitment to go to the camp, because I think Jeremy goes to the camp every single year, to kind of help out, maybe be a counselor, this type of thing. So I don't know if that's why Jeremy was going up there. And maybe he was at camp today, and that picture with the girls was like a camp for those girls. I don't know. But again, that gives more credence to the theory that this wasn't him not being with the team in L.A. Might not be a big deal. It might be he's got a prior commitment to be at this camp for his high school coach. So it could be as simple as that. And again, we can't overanalyze everything, particularly in instances where we don't know the situation. We don't know why Jeremy left from L.A. We don't know what he's doing. So it's hard to read too much into it when we don't have all the facts. And Jeremy himself made a joke on his Twitter about not taking days off. Somebody wrote him something like, "Hey, Jeremy, that Japanese tea garden looks like somewhere in Kyoto," which is actually in Japan. And he's like, "Yeah, I swam there last night." And then it hashtag no days off. And then hashtag JK, just kidding. And I was making a joke about the guy that was giving a hard time about not taking days off. You got to take days off. Any athlete will tell you that. Any serious athlete. You can't go constantly. So it's just funny. It just shows you how eager people are to read into situations that they don't know everything about. Whether they like Jeremy or they don't like Jeremy. I think particularly the people that don't like Jeremy. This means he's getting cut. This means he's getting traded. This means he's distancing himself from the team. This means all this stuff. No, actually, it might not mean anything. We don't know. And I can't say too much because I don't know. Although it does, putting the pieces together here, he went back up to Palo Alto, it appears. And it seems like he might be heading up there to help with his high school basketball coach's camp. So it just could be that simple. Now, just kind of dovetailing from that point, let's talk more about Jeremy and his summer. And this is something that Jason Friedman mentioned, apparently, in his Rockets cast from the other day, the last Rockets cast. I don't know the exact date of that, although we can certainly find it on Jason's YouTube channel. I heard that Jason said in the Rockets cast that Jeremy is deliberately taking a low-profile approach this summer. In other words, he's not putting out a lot of tweets. He's not doing a bunch of Instagrams. He's not doing a whole bunch of things. He's not trying to be in the limelight. Well, why is that? Well, apparently Friedman said that Jeremy's just trying to work on his game. Right. This is something we've talked about again and again in these update videos for 2013 summer. Jeremy is in a situation now where he's got his money and he's healthy and he's being doubted after the way that the playoffs ended and Patrick Beverley coming on and all of this, and now it's Dwight Howard's here, and can Jeremy be a championship level point guard? So what that means is, as we've talked about before, Jeremy is just going to work. Going to work means you're not talking to many people. You're not doing a whole bunch of things. You're just getting in the gym and working on your game so you can improve, so you can be ready for next year, so you can shut up the doubters again. And that's essentially what Jason Friedman supposedly said in his Rockets cast. It's what Jeremy's doing. And I think that's exactly what he's doing. I think that's exactly what he's doing. As I told you guys before, and you know this, Jeremy's a worker. He's a worker. He's a grinder. He wants to work. That's how he got into Harvard. That's how he made the NBA. That's how he was able to pursue his basketball career throughout all of his schooling, even though people doubted him. You have to be able to work. You have to be self-motivated. And so I do believe, as apparently Jason Friedman said, that that's how Jeremy has approached this summer. Now, yeah, okay, he went to the Steve Nash soccer game and did that, and that's cool. That's a charity thing. You know, if you're going to be in LA and you got a little time, Jeremy played soccer in high school, I believe. So, yeah, go out, go help Jeremy, go help charity. Have a little fun. But, you know, Jeremy's been very low profile this summer. I do believe he's going to Asia early in August. And that, I mean, honestly, a lot of times that's like a sponsorship obligation. You know, Jeremy's being featured, I know, in at least one commercial from Volvo in Asia, I believe. So you have commitments. You've got to go and make appearances there. That's part of your contract a lot of times. Now, I don't know the details on it. I can't tell you for sure that's why Jeremy's going to Asia, but that could very well be why Jeremy's going to Asia. And as you know, many players go to Asia in the offseason at this point in time. And just because the growing basketball market over there, it's just a smart thing to do. You might, a lot of players do it with Nike. And a lot of players, I think, do it themselves because there are opportunities over there for camps and just for appearances. And it's a no-brainer for Jeremy to travel to Asia to connect with his fan base, whether or not it's with a sponsor agreement or not. So I don't have any problem with him doing that. It's a minor thing. It doesn't take very long, and he can train. I mean, he trained when he was in Asia last year, and that's when his knee was messed up, and he was doing rehab. So that shouldn't be a problem. That shouldn't be any type of thing. But again, haters are going to spin that. Oh, you should be doing this. You didn't do that. No, that's nonsense. And those people don't want Jeremy to succeed. Again, so if he's doing something that's going to help his profile or get him some more attention, they don't want that. So then the excuse to try to shut that down is, well, you should be working at your game, which is what the guy said on Instagram today. Hey, you shouldn't be taking a day off. You should be working. Now, does that person actually want Jeremy to succeed? Is that why he wants him to work on his game? No, I don't think so. That's a person that doesn't want Jeremy to do anything. Doesn't want him to chill, doesn't want him to get attention, doesn't want him to do well. So everything Jeremy does, that type of person's going to criticize him. It doesn't matter what it is. You can't please people like that. So you don't worry about people like that. And that's why I think Jeremy made a joke about it in terms of taking a day off. That's probably about as much of a reaction you'll ever get out of Jeremy Lin. And it was funny. That was good. It was fun. So I think Jeremy's taking exactly the right approach this summer. Now, again, as we've said numerous times, last summer, after Jeremy was signed by Houston, somebody from the team put out a leak. They said something to somebody in the media, basically saying they weren't sure if Jeremy was doing his rehab seriously enough. They weren't sure if he was spending enough time and enough energy on rehabilitating his knee surgery. So Jeremy knows that, right? And in addition to, hey, Patrick Beverley was great in the playoffs and Jeremy wasn't, and Dwight Howard's here, and all, can Jeremy play at that level? Blah, 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 blah. He knows. He knows what the perception was of him last summer. He's going to Asia. He's doing commercials. Maybe he's not really serious enough. So I think the approach this summer is a response to that. And that's good. That's good. As I said, go to work. Get in the gym. Work on your game. And he's doing that. And again, because of his health, he's in a much better position to do that. And similarly, because he got paid. He doesn't have to worry about money now. He got his contract. No more sleeping on the couch. No more anything. Now he's got peace of mind. He can work on his game. He can concentrate on his game. So I think he's doing exactly what you would expect him to do. I have no complaints with what he's doing. And you guys know me. I like Jeremy, but I'm honest about it. If I didn't think Jeremy was working hard enough, I'd say, Jeremy needs to work a little bit more. But I think he's working extremely hard right now. In fact, if you look at the Instagram picture from the girl from today, Jeremy looks jacked. You look at his arms and his shoulders. He's hitting the weights. And not only is he hitting the weights, he's getting his nutrition. In order to get bigger, when you weight train, and this is something I have a lot of experience with for myself and certainly John, four-time champion in powerlifting. It's not just about lifting. You've got to eat properly. You can lift forever and ever and ever and never get a lot bigger unless you're getting your protein. When you look at, Jeremy in that picture, he looks big. I mean, real big. So this is somebody that's hitting the weights and really working on his nutrition. And that takes time. I don't know if Jeremy has, a lot of guys have chefs and personal chefs. I don't think Jeremy has a personal chef. If you don't have a personal chef, you got to hit your own nutrition. And I mean, it's not a big deal. You can just hit a protein shake and that's done. But it's still something that takes, you got to work at it. And if you look at, again, Jeremy, building his body up, getting his nutrition, working on his shooting and stuff, I think Jeremy's got a pretty full schedule right now. Jeremy's working. And I'll give you a great example. Dwayne Wade. And I love Dwayne Wade. I'm a big Dwayne Wade fan. But look, Dwayne Wade's gotten a lot of criticism in the past because when it's summertime comes, a lot of times, Dwayne likes to do like little modeling ventures and stuff like this. And there's a lot of people in the past that Dwayne doesn't work hard enough in the summer. And Dwayne has never been able to develop a consistent outside shot. And that's something you do in the summer. And Dwayne is a 10-year veteran. You'd expect him to have that jump shot by now if he was really working at it. Now, to be fair to Dwayne, he's been hurt a lot. He's had a lot of summers of rehab, including last summer. And I know he did work last summer on his shot. I mean, he talked about it, and I think there's some documentation that, he was in working at it, and, just didn't happen. But if Jeremy was in Dwayne Wade's situation, and he was 10 years in, and he still wasn't hitting outside shots, and there were questions about his summer routine, then I might criticize him. But he's not in that situation. As I said, Jeremy improved his three-point shooting within the year last year so much. I mean, I want to say, almost 10 points within a season. That's incredible. That's a worker. That's somebody that knows how to work and improve and did it, even though his knee wasn't right for most of the season. So I'm not worried about Jeremy. I know Jeremy can work, and I know he's working right now. So I'm not concerned about it. Now, again, you can't improve everything in one summer. You can't do everything in one summer. It doesn't work that way. The way it works is you try to work on one or two things. And then the next summer, you work on something different. That's the way Michael Jordan would do it. Kobe's done it. LeBron's doing it. One summer, LeBron works on his post game. And then the next summer, he continues to work on his post game. He works on three-point shooting. And that's how it goes. Jeremy's got a number of different things he's got to improve. He needs to improve his outside shooting. He needs to improve his ball handling. He needs to continue to work, on his decision-making, making the right passes, deciding when to pass and when to shoot, and those things will help his turnovers, etc. So there's plenty of work to be done. And again, a lot of that comes from him not playing point guard in college, him coming into the NBA as a combination guard, a combination of a point guard and a shooting guard. Now he's a point guard. So he's going to have to work specifically on point guard skills. And it's going to take time. It's going to take time, but he's capable of improving, as we saw last year. And frankly, as we saw in Linsanity 1.0, I mean, that didn't come from nowhere. He had to work to be able to do that. I mean, if he was doing that constantly in practice, then he would have been getting more playing time. So he had to work, and then when he got his chance, he was ready. And that's because he worked at it and it had improved and was ready for it. So I have no concerns about Jeremy as a worker. And I know that he's in a mental position now to be able to work because he got paid and because he's healthy. So great. I'm thrilled. Now, I just want to make another comment too, just about, when Jeremy put the tweet out of the Japanese garden, he said something like, on my day off, I'm enjoying God's creation or whatever. And it just goes back to, again, remember, Jeremy is a person of faith. And you see it in what he says. And if you look at his Instagram and his Twitter accounts, they both have, I believe, the phrase, to know him is to want to know him more in reference to God. And I just tell you something. I've gone back and forth in my own religion or my own faith. I used to be extremely devout Catholic, and then I kind of completely got away from the church. I was more of a Darwinist, atheist, etc. type of person, and now I'm kind of coming back. But I worked at a mission or volunteered at a mission in Southern California, I don't know, about 15 years ago now, and was very devout, very much into that lifestyle. And I can tell you this, you don't talk like JLin talks and do all the references that he makes to God if you're not devout. That's the type of talk that somebody that's very devout makes. Now, there are people out there that are fake devout, and, they're talking, they're Christian stuff, and they're not really. But Jeremy, yeah, it's possible he could be pretending, but he's not pretending. I mean, this is what he is. And he's upfront about that in the same way that, Tim Tebow, whatever is. And when we talked about the Google Hangout that Jeremy did with the troops, that's one of the things we said. That's why we like Jeremy. One of the reasons he is who he says he is. He's living that life. He's living the life of a devout person. I think it's great. That's one of the reasons why I think he's a good role model. People are looking for that. That doesn't mean, again, Jeremy's not perfect, but he's trying to live that life. People that talk that way and make those references consistently, that is a person whose life revolves around faith. And I believe that because you can see it in him. And I think it's tremendous. As I said, you don't have to be religious to be a good person. But Jeremy's a good person. And I think his faith is a big part of that. That keeps him grounded in everything. It keeps him grounded from the criticism. It keeps him grounded in the success that he's had. And it keeps you grounded in terms of working. You got to keep working at it. If you're a person of faith, you got to work at it. It's not easy. And so I think that his faith certainly helps him out. Now, let's talk about Aaron Brooks. Aaron Brooks put out a tweet tonight saying that he was happy to be back, and then he had hashtag Red Nation. So it does appear that Aaron Brooks is back with a team. I know somebody left a comment to that effect in the last Jeremy video that I did. So what does it mean? Now the Rockets have 4 point guards. They have Jeremy, Patrick Beverley, Isaiah Canaan, and Aaron Brooks. What it means is that they want depth. If you're a team that wants to make a serious playoff push and you believe you're a championship contender or you're going to go deep in the playoffs, you need depth. And the Rockets need depth at point guard. Why is that? Because none of the point guards are proven yet. Jeremy's great, but he still has to work on how he does in the playoffs. Patrick Beverley is very good, but he's unproven as a starter. That's why you bring somebody like Aaron Brooks back. Aaron Brooks is a veteran. He's played at a high level in the NBA. And so I don't think Aaron Brooks is going to take Jeremy's job. And people, what is this? Is Jeremy going to get demoted? No. But if Jeremy gets hurt, if Jeremy doesn't perform well, you have Aaron Brooks waiting around. And that's the type of move that is made when you're a serious contender. You're not taking any chances. There are 2 weak points on this team right now in terms of an honest evaluation. Power forward and maybe at point guard in terms of championship level, high level performance. Again, I have perfect confidence in Jeremy. You guys know that. But if you're a general manager, you don't take chances. You want everything under control. You want as many options as you can get. So if one of your guys isn't ready to perform at a high level or gets hurt, you've got an option. And that's why Aaron Brooks was brought in. Remember, they released Aaron Brooks, or they waived Aaron Brooks, I think, so they could sign Dwight Howard. But then if you can bring him back, bring him back. You know him. He's played for your team before. You know what he's capable of. Aaron Brooks, I believe, is a good three-point shooter. That's certainly needed on this team. I think it's great. I'm not concerned about it. I'm not concerned about what it for Jeremy or whatever. It tells me the team is serious about making a playoff run this year. And that I have no problem with it whatsoever. Okay, I just want to thank, I know I've answered a lot of comments on the videos, but I haven't got to answer everybody. Again, I read all the comments, every single comment I read and I see. So if you leave a comment, even if I don't get to respond to you, believe me, I've read your comment and I appreciate all of them. And I just, say thanks because a lot of people have a lot of nice things to say. Sometimes I have trouble typing. I just have trouble with my right shoulder. And so there are just days when I can't type very much. So there's just times I just, I'm not able to respond to the comments. As someone have asked us before, hey, you guys going to do Twitter? We have a Twitter account. We used to use it a lot. It's just like I said, because of sometimes my typing issues, I just don't do it that much. But we might get back to doing it. I mean, there's probably a time in the future when we will get back to doing it. It's just most of what we're going to do now is going to be through videos. And and we use the comment sections to just interact with people. And even when new information comes out, we can talk about it in the comments. And if it's really important information, we'll just make a new video about it. So that's what we're doing right now. As I said, that might change in the future, but we'll just take it from where it is now. Now, again, I just want to go over where I believe are good places to get information about Jeremy and about the team. Now, we said Clutch fans. Again, I told you my take on Clutch fans. Rockets.com and Jason Friedman's YouTube channel, which there's information about in the video description below the video player. Houston Radio. There are 4 main radio stations in Houston. And actually, I'll make that 3. There are 3 main radio stations in Houston which give local input. And those are 610. I believe that's a CBS affiliate. I don't remember the call letters for it. 610, 790, and 1560. All 3 of those places have live feeds on the internet. I'll put information for that in the video description as well. So you guys can go and then see where they are. I don't know the host of those stations very well yet. I'll learn them, but I don't know them right now. So I can't tell you, listen to this person at this time. I don't know that yet. I do know, though, that they're often talking with people from the team, whether it's players or it's people that cover the team, or Bill Worrell, who does a play-by-play. So that's a good place to get information on Jeremy and the team. So I would certainly suggest that as well. JeremyLin.net. Now, I've mentioned them before. I like them a lot. they've always been nice with us, and we appreciate that. JeremyLin.net is an excellent source of information. Remember, these guys have talked to Jeremy's shooting coach. They've done interviews with the shooting coach. They do a great job. Jeremy Lintelligence, both the blog site and the YouTube channel. Again, that's our guy, Andy, and he does a great job. So his stuff is useful. And again, a lot of what Andy does is he looks at the phenomenon of Linsanity, and Jeremy, kind of, the cultural overview of how people are seeing Jeremy, etc. But he also does stuff, breaking down like Kevin McHale and his take on Jeremy, and etc. The Houston Chronicle newspaper, they have a site online, cron.com, I believe it is. They have beat writers, particularly Jonathan Feigen, I believe his name is, who covers the team day in, day out. I know Feigen has a Twitter feed, and that you'll certainly get information there. Twitter. If you do a search for Jeremy Lin on Twitter, you'll get the latest information. If somebody saw him somewhere or someone put a picture up of him, you'll find it on Twitter. Red 94. Now, we've talked about Red 94 before with Rahat Hook. He talks about Jeremy. He talks about the team. He's affiliated with ESPN. He has some access to the team. So, again, he's got a site and he's got a YouTube, which I know we've mentioned before or linked to before, or given the link for him. He's good. Anybody that can get access to the team is certainly somebody to listen to, because they're going to get information. They're going to get information that the average person isn't going to get. And, of course, us. We do what we do. I don't have links to the team. Not right now. Maybe I will at some point. I don't right now. But we analyze all of this. We keep you guys informed. We kind of compile everything and aggregate all of this information and then analyze it. As I said, some of the guys that cover the team can't say certain things that I'm allowed to say. And the reason is they cover the team. They have to protect the team. They have to protect the relationships. If you have a source with the team and you get certain information, well, you don't want to say anything that's going to make that source look bad. Or if that source has a particular point of view, you don't want to say anything counter to that. And this happens all the time in the world of journalism. And I'm not saying any of these guys that cover the team are doing this, but it happens. There's certain things you say and don't say because you don't want to make the team look bad, because if the team thinks you're making them look bad, you're not going to get access anymore. So sometimes when you cover a team as a beat reporter, you can't say certain things because the team doesn't want you to say them. The same way that if you have a relationship with a player as a source, well, you're probably going to make that player look good, because if you don't make them look good, you're not going to be getting information from them anymore. And that's just kind of how it works in the media and in journalism. So because I don't have, and we don't have any ties to the team, I can say anything I want. And that's why, sometimes that helps in terms of being more objective. I can say, I don't know if Kevin McHale's using Jeremy right. Whereas, other people might not be as comfortable saying that. So all of those sources are good. They're all useful. Some might be more useful than others as regards Jeremy, but they're all useful. And this is where you can get more information about Jeremy. There's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of stuff's nonsense, as we've talked about before, but there's plenty of good information out there as well. And look, it's useful to listen to people, even people that don't like Jeremy or don't believe in Jeremy. It's good to hear other viewpoints. You don't just want to hear everything positive, because then you become in like a bubble and you get into groupthink. and everybody's saying the same thing, and it's like, confirmation bias. You don't want to do that. That's not useful. That's not reality. But again, for us, we try to keep it real. You guys know me. I mean, I like Jeremy, but I'm going to tell it what it is. If he had a bad game, I say he had a bad game. If I thought he cost the team a game, I say I thought he cost the team the game. But so that's it. I want to go over that different information. Look, it's very early, 3:30 a.m., early Friday, July 19th, 2013, here on the East Coast of the United States, which means it is 3:30 p.m. Friday, July 19th, 2013 in Taipei, Taiwan. I also want to say a thank you to 017 Anon for their work and doing some more translation stuff for us. We really appreciate it, and I hope you're having a great summer. I'm sure you're very busy in your other endeavors. And also, let me just say, shouts out to Hanny Chang, Melody Ting, all of our regulars, people around the world, Joyce Ward. We appreciate you guys' comments. I know Hanny is going to go see Jeremy in Taiwan, and people are just kind of freaking out because Hanny's going to pay good money to see Jeremy. But you guys have to understand, people in the United States, and I try to say this all the time, and I know that people, we have information because we make videos. We have information about the viewership of those videos. I cannot overstress how huge Jeremy is around the world. It would surprise people in the United States, and he's particularly huge, obviously in Asia, but within Asia, he's monstrously huge in Taiwan. I mean, his parents are Taiwanese, and Hanny is from Taiwan. You just can't believe how big Jeremy is in Taiwan. And that's great. I think it's awesome. And it makes sense, right? I think Jeremy's the first person of Taiwanese descent to play in the NBA. I mean, this is their guy. And so I would expect his fans in Taiwan to feel the way that they do. I think it's great. The NBA is changing now. It's evolving. When I started watching the NBA in the early 80s, it was nothing. It was small. It was so small that playoff games, not regular season games, playoff games were tape delayed. In other words, they weren't live. I mean, it wasn't important enough for them to be live, right? And so I'm pretty sure that's right. I know that was the case in the 70s, and I'm almost certain that was the case in the 80s. In fact, I know it's the case because I can remember a couple things now. At that point in time, the NBA was a struggling national league. Well, now it's a global juggernaut. It's monstrously huge. I mean, it might be, second behind soccer in terms of global viewership, or it's close. And there's basketball growing interest in Asia. And what that means is you have stories like JLin, but what it also means is that it's not going to take long before you start seeing more players from Asia and of Asian descent coming into the NBA. That's the way it works. First, you have to get interested in something. Once you're interested in it, you start playing it. And then more people play it from your community or your nation. And then more people play it, and you start getting better and better. And pretty soon, you got players that are NBA level. And that's the way it works. A great example of this is Lithuania. Lithuania is a small nation in Northern Europe, but it's an NBA factory. given the, in proportion to the population there. I think the population of Lithuania is like 3 million or something. It's nothing. But they consistently produce NBA players. Why? Because it's huge there. Because basketball is like a religion there. And it's been that way for at least a generation or longer than that, actually. And they got good coaching over there, and it became important in the nation. And so, if that's the case, you will produce professional level players. And that's what's going to happen in Asia. We've already seen it. I mean, obviously, Yao and other players from there, but there's going to be more. And so, if you're a baller in Taiwan, Jeremy Lin's your man. You want to be Jeremy Lin. So, of course, he's going to be big over there. And this is a new thing. It's a new trend. And Jeremy's the guy that you can relate to. Jeremy's a guy that proves you can get in the NBA. And that's why he's so big in Taiwan, in Asia. And it's tremendous. It's great. It's, it's totally expected. It's not unexpected at all. So I think it's great. And I'm glad that Hanny's going to get to see him. I think it should be fun. It should be great. Now, like I said, I think I mentioned LaMarcus Aldridge, that little trade possibility or whatever. It could happen. If it does happen, it might not involve Jeremy. Portland doesn't need Jeremy. They've got Damian Lillard, and now they've got C.J. McCollum. They don't need a point guard. They need a center, although they do have Robin Lopez now. So I think it's great. If Houston can get LaMarcus Aldridge, please go get him, because he's a great player, and we need a power forward. But even if that does happen, and it could happen, I'm not sure Jeremy's going to be part of that deal. So, again, for the people that don't want Jeremy on the team or whatever, I still think you're in a bad spot. I think it's looking very likely Jeremy's going to be with the team. Now, is Jeremy going to start? Well, we'll see. I expect him to start because he's the best point guard on the roster at this point in time. Now, Aaron Brooks used to be a great player. I don't know if he'll ever be that player again. But, at this point in time, I think Jeremy's the best player on the roster, and I expect Jeremy to come in even better because he's going to be healthy and because he's going to have worked on his game. So, all right, that's it. That is the latest. Your comments below, thumbs up, thumbs down on this video. I am Paul F. Villarreal, PFV, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We will include information in the video description so you can come and join the Conservative New Media Facebook group if you'd like to do that. We have over 2,500 members there and growing all the time. I hope all you guys are having a great summer in the Northern Hemisphere. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, where Melody Ting and others are in Africa and in South America, I hope you're having a nice winter. It was 100 degrees Fahrenheit today where I live on the east coast of the United States, which is, I don't know what it is in centigrade, but it's very hot. But I was cool. I got my little window air conditioner and I'm all good, even though I had to go out and about today. The heat doesn't bother me that much, especially if I have a good air conditioner, but I guess that's the case for all of us. Like I said, I hope everybody's doing well. We'll keep tracking Jeremy. Like I said, it appears that he's going to be up in Palo Alto right now, up at home, and I'm sure he's going to be heading over to Stanford doing his work. If you've never been to Stanford, it's an awesome facility. It's an awesome university. I've spent a decent amount of time at Stanford on the campus, and it's a great place to work out if you're an athlete. I can tell you that. Jeremy won't be lacking for anything working out at Stanford. So, good stuff. Again, as I said in the video that John and I made earlier, I believe so long as Jeremy stays healthy, you're going to see a totally different player in 2 to 3 years. You're going to see a completely different player, a player that honestly the doubters they're not even ready for. So I think, if as long as Jeremy can just hopefully keep his health, God willing, you're going to see big things from him in a couple of years. I don't know how much is going to be different this year. I'm sure his shot's going to be better, but it's coming. It's coming. Just so stay tuned. I think we're going to be seeing some very good things in the future. Okay, that's it for now. Take care. Look forward to your comments, and we will talk with you again soon. Once again, Conservative New Media, we do strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. See you guys soon. Take care.